I didn't even want to move. I didn't want to move too quick, like, cause I'm like, oh my God, if I take the wrong step, I don't know if he can shoot something that's like super important. I don't know if he could shoot me and kill me. Like,
were you afraid for your life at that time?
I was really scared because I had never been shot at before.
Behind the fame, the money, and the sold-out shows, there's another side of being a superstar the side fans rarely see, because even the biggest rappers in the world can suddenly find themselves fighting something much more serious than a rival, a health problem. And when your entire career depends on your voice, your energy, your body, and your ability to perform, even a serious illness can completely change your life. Today, we're looking at 5 female rappers who have publicly spoken about major health struggles and how those experiences affected their lives and careers, and the first story is one of the most powerful. Missy Elliott. For years, Missy Elliott looked unstoppable. She wasn't just a rapper, she was a producer, a songwriter, a performer, and one of the most creative artists hip-hop had ever seen. But behind the success, Missy was dealing with a serious health condition. In 2008, she was diagnosed with Graves' disease, an autoimmune condition that affects the thyroid. At first, she didn't fully understand what was happening to her, but the symptoms became severe. Missy later described how the disease affected her nervous system, her energy, her vision, and even her ability to perform normal everyday tasks.
Seeing, my eyes change and your hair fall out, your skin change, everything. For me, that was traumatic.
At one point, she said she couldn't even hold a pen, and for an artist whose entire career depended on creativity and performance, that was terrifying. Imagine going from creating music, performing on stage, and controlling an entire room, to suddenly struggling just to perform basic tasks. The condition also affected her mentally. Missy later explained that dealing with the physical symptoms and the uncertainty surrounding her health took a toll on her mental well-being. But she didn't let the diagnosis become the end of her story. She received treatment, made changes to her lifestyle, and continued working in music. By the time she publicly discussed her condition, she explained that she had been off medication for some time and was managing the condition, and eventually, Missy returned to the spotlight. She continued creating music, performing, and influencing a new generation of artists. Her story is important because, from the outside, fans saw a superstar, but behind the scenes, she was fighting a battle that most people knew nothing about. And Missy wasn't the only female rapper whose health suddenly changed everything, because the next story involves something even more shocking. Foxy Brown. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Foxy Brown was one of the most recognizable female rappers in hip-hop. She had major collaborations, hit records, and a reputation as one of the strongest female MCs of her generation. But in the middle of her career, something happened that could have completely ended her ability to make music. Her hearing began to disappear. In 2005, Foxy revealed that she had been suffering from sudden hearing loss, and this wasn't a minor problem. She said she hadn't been able to hear another person's voice for around 6 months. Think about that. A rapper, a recording artist, someone whose entire career depends on sound, was suddenly struggling to hear. She was in the middle of working on an album when the condition became a serious problem. Foxy told reporters that she was preparing to undergo surgery in hopes of restoring her hearing, and the situation became even more complicated later. Medical issues involving her hearing continued, and court documents later referenced problems with an electronic ear implant and additional treatment. For an artist trying to maintain a music career, the timing couldn't have been worse, but Foxy kept fighting. Her story became a reminder that sometimes the biggest threat to a musician's career isn't another artist, isn't a record label, and isn't a failed album. Sometimes it's your own health. And while Foxy was fighting to hear again, another superstar would face a completely different kind of battle. Thee Stallion. Thee Stallion built her career on confidence. Her image was powerful, her performances were energetic, and she quickly became one of the biggest names in modern hip-hop. But behind that confidence, Megan has also been open about struggling with her mental health after losing both of her parents and later dealing with the trauma surrounding the 2020 shooting incident.
I didn't even want to move. I didn't want to move too quick. Like, cause I'm like, oh my God, if I take the wrong step, I don't know if he can shoot something that's like super important. I don't know if he could shoot me and kill me. Like,
were you afraid for your life at that time?
I was really scared cause I had never been shot at before.
Megan found herself in a very different place emotionally. She has spoken publicly about feeling depressed, isolated, and overwhelmed. And instead of pretending everything was fine, she eventually turned to therapy. For Megan, therapy became part of the process of dealing with grief, trauma, and the pressure that came with being one of the world's biggest female rappers. What makes her story different is that the problem wasn't something fans could immediately see. There was no cast, no surgery, no visible injury, but mental health struggles can be just as serious, and Megan has repeatedly used her platform to encourage people to take their mental health seriously. She eventually returned to music, continued performing, and became even more successful. But her experience showed that even when someone looks confident and successful from the outside, they can still be fighting battles privately, and sometimes the strongest thing an artist can do is admit they need help. Cardi B. Cardi B's rise to fame was almost unbelievable. She went from reality television to becoming one of the biggest rappers in the world, but her career also came with enormous pressure, especially surrounding her appearance. Cardi has openly discussed undergoing cosmetic procedures, including butt injections, and later revealed that some of those procedures created serious health problems. She has spoken about complications connected to illegal butt injections and how painful and dangerous the experience became. At one point, Cardi said she had to deal with swelling and other complications, and eventually decided that she needed to prioritize her health. That experience changed the way she talked about cosmetic procedures.
I actually removed my shots off my butt. I removed 95%. If you young, if you 19, if you 20, if you 21, and sometimes you too skinny, and you be like, oh my God, I don't got enough fat to put on my and everything, so you resort to shots, bitch, don't
Instead of presenting them simply as a way to change your appearance, she began warning people about the risks, and that's important because celebrities can make extreme beauty standards look normal. But what happens behind the scenes can be very different. Cardi's story is a reminder that fame comes with pressure, and sometimes that pressure can push people into decisions that have serious consequences. But perhaps the most important part of her story is that she eventually became more open about putting her health first. And then there's the final rapper on this list. Her story isn't about one diagnosis or one surgery. It's about what happens when one of the biggest female rappers in the world becomes a mother. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj's story is a little different. Her biggest health challenge came during one of the biggest changes in her personal life, becoming a mother. After giving birth to her son, Nicki openly spoke about how difficult the postpartum period could be. She discussed the physical challenges of childbirth, breastfeeding, and the exhaustion that came with taking care of a newborn while living under the constant pressure of being a global superstar. For someone who was used to performing, traveling, recording, and working constantly, motherhood brought an entirely different kind of physical and emotional pressure, and Nicki's experience showed something fans don't always see. Even when you're one of the biggest female rappers in the world, your body still needs time to recover, your life can completely change, and sometimes you have to slow down. But Nicki continued balancing motherhood with her career and eventually returned to performing and releasing music. Her story wasn't about one dramatic diagnosis, it was about a major life change and the physical reality that came with it. And when you put all 5 stories together, the bigger picture becomes clear. Missy Elliott faced Graves' disease. Foxy Brown fought severe hearing loss. Thee Stallion opened up about mental health struggles and therapy. Cardi B spoke publicly about complications from cosmetic procedures. And Nicki Minaj opened up about the physical challenges of childbirth and motherhood. Different problems, different circumstances, but one thing connects all of them. Behind the music, they're human beings. Fans see the performances, the red carpets, the designer clothes, and the millions of views, but they don't always see the recovery, the exhaustion, or the private battles happening away from the cameras. At the end of the day, fame doesn't make anyone invincible. These women face battles behind the spotlight and still found a way to keep moving forward. Sometimes, the strongest comeback is simply getting back on your feet. Thanks for watching.